All right, I teased before the break, guys. We said all year this was the year of the big. We printed books about it. We made graphics about it on social media. Everybody talked about it all season long. And then we talked about a lot of different bigs at various points in the season. I think it's fitting that ultimately the team that cut down the nets tonight was the team that had two bigs that belong on the list of the best bigs in America. Jeff, how indicative of this season as a whole for the sport is it that UConn is the champion with that duo in the front court?
I mean, it's crazy because, again, you look at it and what have we talked about? Teams with kind of plotting bigs don't advance in the NCAA tournament. Dan Hurley found a way, and they're not as plotting as some of the other guys.
They're not Big Ten. They're not Big Ten bigs. I mean, Sunogo
no, but
can
Klingon, you
now.
look at him, he moves well.
Yeah.
He does move well laterally. He's not like, a great athlete. I mean, he's a great athlete for his size. But again, you look at Klingon and you're like, oh, he's a traditional big.
Sure.
He's not a new age big, right? He's not a guy who's going to step out and shoot threes. But I think what they're able to do even tonight, offensively with Sunogo early, and then he was really good defensively, and then Klingon completely changed the game to me from a defensive end.
Yes.
They were scared shitless to go in there after the first. They didn't score. I mean, think of how long they went without scoring a field goal.
10 minutes without making a shot, and that had everything.
It's 11 minutes. 11 minutes
without making a shot that had everything to do with the presence that
Right.
Donovan Klingon
Everything.
had in the paint. Everything.
I know, and they don't have shooters anyway. I mean, they don't have scorers. I watched them play last year in the Mountain West tournament, and I was like, they can't score at all. Well, they added Trammell. He could score a little bit, but again, he's so small.
Yeah, this was not his matchup.
No. This is a terrible matchup for him and really for San Diego State because a lot of times they're playing with two guys who could score on the court, right? You got, Arop on there. You got Mensah down low, and then you had, what's the other, Sekou. So you have three guys on the court towards the end of the game, none of which you really were scared of could score.
Right. There's a lot to be said there. And we talked about it before you got on, that 0-6 in the first 24 minutes of the game from the layup area of the court.
Again, why?
Klingon, Sunogo,
That's
all
right.
that stuff.
That's right.
Here's the truth of the matter. UConn is good at all the same stuff San Diego State is. They're just better at it. And they're 2 inches taller and about 10 pounds heavier at almost every spot. And that's crazy to say. Everybody except for Ledee. Everybody except for him. And even Donovan Klingon made him look small.
Yeah, he makes everybody look small.
It was incredible. And you see Ledee on TV, and you're like, man, this is a grown man right here. And then he walks up beside Klingon. He's every bit as big, and he's about 6 inches taller. I mean, it's the size of this team around the perimeter, on the interior. This was a fun team to watch over the last 6 games.
The reason why they were able to win with the bigs is because they didn't rely solely on the bigs, right? They have guards that can play. The most dangerous player on their roster is Jordan Hawkins. They have the two different playmakers that you can rely on when you need to be able to rely on that. They play 4-around-1 with guys that make a ton of threes, right? So you can play off of your big men in the middle and put 4 shooters around them. But to me, the biggest thing is the fact that they have the two of them, right? I've talked about this all week. They make you prepare for basically two different teams because of those two big guys. They're two totally opposite basketball players. What do they do? What do they do similar to Yo that is not simply playing the 5 position?
Was there a ton of ball screens even? I mean, for San Diego State, it was all swing, try to go somewhere, and the wings just swallowed everything up. And if they did get their hip on somebody, that's when the 7-footer came over and blocked shots, or that's when Sunogo was coming over getting close. They were just. I never thought I would see the front court of San Diego State intimidated. That's what we were saying early in the second half.
I mean, I don't understand why we thought like San Diego State Mensah can't score.
Because they've been bullying everybody else that they've been playing against up until this point. It's a
Sunogo
national
is
championship
so
game,
strong,
and they've been beating everybody. Yeah,
he is so strong.
Yeah.
And again, then you're bringing Klingon, who's so big and moves so well laterally. I don't know. They're just, like you said, they were put together so well.
Yep.
Because the role guys that they brought in knew that they were role guys.
Yes.
They accepted their roles. They weren't trying to be more. Joey Calcaterra was brought in as a practice player, legitimately brought in as a practice player. And he gets going early, and Aline is kind of in the doghouse, right? Because he couldn't make shots. And then he sticks with it, and then he comes on late. So
Calcaterra hit a big shot at the end of the game.
2 big shots, didn't he, tonight? But a big one, I mean, obviously the biggest one was Hawkins. Cut to 5, and I know you guys probably already talked about it, but He's like the silent assassin, isn't he?
You had a
The
great.
dude doesn't
You
say
had
a
a
word.
great tweet. Jordan Hawkins chews gum and makes threes.
all he
That
does.
was a great tweet.
That's all he does, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah, he's a bucket. So I think, from my perspective, this was a pretty satisfying conclusion to this Final Four. I mean, so much
Yeah.
was made coming in to this Final Four of who are these schools, what are the brands, is this good, is this bad for the sport? Nobody knows. And in the end, we get a game that went down to the wire between two of the non-Blue Bloods. That was an electric moment, the most electric moment of the tournament. And now at the end, on the final game of the regular season, we get the team we feel is the best team in the sport winning the championship. That's a satisfying conclusion, obviously, for Rob Doster. But, T.O., do you agree with that we, as fans, kind of feel good about where this sport ended?
You know what? This was a tournament in which there was a lot of upset. There were a lot of great storylines. The small guy David beating up on Goliath, this, that, and the third. But I think all in all, the best team in college basketball won.
It has had 3 shitty weeks.
Today's episode is presented by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball's pick'em, where you get real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's games. In pick'em, all you do is pick whether a player will go higher or lower in Underdog's projected totals. That's points, rebounds, whatever. If you're like me and you think Marquise Noel is going to go absolutely nuts this weekend, pick higher on his points projection, throw in a couple of other picks, and if you hit them all, you can win 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured it out. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, FIELD, to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Get in on the madness now.